What's up, guys? It's McNulty here, and it is the Soul Exchange, the fourth Soul Exchange, and the leaked list, it seems, was correct. So we have the same list as had been shown on the forum for the last few days now, and to be fair, I'm not sure how I feel about this one because there are some really good heroes in here, and as I'm recording this, I'm still not 100% sure who I'm going to go for. So hopefully making this video will help me make up my mind. We're just going to have a little look at who's in here, whether I think they're worth the amount of souls that they want to exchange for, and hopefully this may help you decide or make your mind up, because it's certainly been a challenge for me so far. So we're going to go ahead and go through these heroes pretty quick. There is a really good selection of different heroes in here, and starting with the first row from left to right. So we'll go Maligna. So Maligna is an interesting hero because she's very randomized in how she casts. I have seen her used as a tank, but so far she hasn't caused any problems from going up against her. So she has a few things going on. I mean, alternatives, the target could get minus 54 defense, or minus 54 attack, or minus 24 mana generation. They could get minus 16 defense for 3 turns, or they could get minus 16 attack for 3 turns. They're not great alternatives, and her passive resisting health steal, and getting 94% against Holy for 3 turns when mana's reduced are extremely situational. So definitely not my favorite hero from the first tier. Now the next hero, Hanytra. She is a great hero. She's got a great class. She's got really good passives where she gets mana when she gets a buff. She gets 5% mana. She has innate resistance against special skills that block, status elements that block special skill usage. So some of these heroes are going to be no good against her. The yellow fast hero, Melosi, that's the one I'm thinking of. He would be no use against her. And also when she fires off, all the allies resist max health reduction for 3 turns. And she gives an increase for any healing reserves received for 4 turns, and boosts health upon dodging. So Hanytra is a really good hero. She's running at fast speed. She's the 2021 family, so she gets an additional critical chance. I like Hanytra. I do use her quite a bit, so she's definitely a good one from this first lineup. We have Gregorian. Gregorian is mainly used for Mythic Titans for boosting the critical chance. He's not, in my opinion, the greatest hero. I mean, he's just a hit 1 hero. He does hit pretty hard, but he is a little bit outdated, I would say. He's running, the 2018 family. So yeah, he's been around for nearly 5 years now. So yeah, Gregorian's getting a little old. Wouldn't recommend him from this first tier unless you're super focused on Mythic Titans. Russell, again, actually I think he's a really good pick. I love the fact that he never misses. So if you're taking him up against Costume Cad or any other dodger, he's just going to say, well, it doesn't matter to me, I'm just going to go ahead and burn regardless. And also if you have any heroes that boost damage over time specials, Russell's burn damage is pretty high. When you emblem it up, it's over 130 per turn, and he has a 350% damage to the target and a pretty high attack stat at nearly 800. So I wouldn't discount Russell from the first row. Vila has been given a buff. Again, if you're looking for a hero that's running at fast speed, giving a damage over time ailment, so you can boost her with heroes like Muffin Girl, what's her name, Matilda. I would say Vila is a pretty good choice. She has a good passive, which is innate resistance against negative effects and minion damage, which we're seeing a lot of minions at the moment. So from the first row, either Hanitra, Russell, or Vila. Probably leaning more towards Hanitra if you've just got 10 souls. I would say she is definitely a good hero. Now moving on to the second tier of heroes for 15 souls. We've got 3 Slayers in here, a Ninja and a Magic family hero. Starting off from the left hand side, Ludwig is a absolute beast. I use Ludwig in quite a few of my teams. I use him for events. I've used him on defense, in war defense. He's just a great all-round hero because he gives that mana boost. He's got a 6-turn taunt, so if you can get him firing off, especially if you have other heroes that will support him well, like Exnolfod, and even on my team I sometimes use Rigard. If you don't have Exnolfod, as long as he gets enough time to get to that 12 tile fire off, when he does fire off, it's game over. If you've got a strong hero to the right hand side or left hand side of him, they're just going to keep on firing, and when they do, they just devastate the opposition, and you've got the taunt up as well, so you basically become invincible when this guy fires. Again, I'm one of these people who's surprised to see him in here for 15 souls. I do have Ludwig on my team already, so a lot of me was contemplating whether or not to grab a second copy of him, but to be honest, and I've come to this conclusion, I just feel like I don't really want to level dupes if I don't absolutely have to, or if I don't think that the hero is just gonna blow away all of the rest of the competition and just really do well for my roster. So even though I think he is an absolute bargain at 15 souls, I think I'm gonna let him be for now. So this next hero, Caitlyn's quite cool. I mean, she dispels the buffs from all enemies. She deals 180% damage. It's an increasing damage effect, which can go up to 340% damage in total, depending on how many buffs she dispels. Not really sure you're going to have that many buffs to dispel, and she is quite situational. So she's a pretty good hero, but not my pick from this tier, unfortunately. I think she does have her uses, but you'd need a very specialist gap in your roster for her to be filling it. Cristobal is, well, basically he's a sniper. He does do some pretty heavy damage if they have less than 50% health remaining, but in most cases with some of the new heroes that are out, if they have 50% or less health remaining, most snipers would be able to take them out, at least from the newer bunch. And again, it's quite situational. I mean, you have to get him up to that second charge, and then he can do damage to all enemies, but you have to get him up to that second charge to change that snipe. So I mean, I'm mostly focused on the first charge for this guy, and yeah, I don't know, I haven't used him, but he hasn't been much of a problem for me when I've been facing him, so he's not a hero that I'm going to be too worried about, to be totally honest. Now, the next hero in the portal, on the other hand, is Saoirse. I think that's how you say her name. She's a great hero, and she is of the Slayer speed, so she's a bit slower, but she increases the mana, and she does get a big mana stack every turn, 10% mana generation chance there, and 315 damage to the target and nearby enemies. It's a good amount, it's a good hard hit, but her attack stat lets her down a little bit, so even though she does hit pretty hard, she just lacks that extra attack for her to be able to really punch a hole in whoever you're facing, in the enemies that you're facing. So yeah, just a little bit low, a little bit lacking, but a really good hero, so not a bad choice if you're going to go for her. And then good old Cobalt. Cobalt is one of the ninja family. Obviously, he's got a pretty good set of stats there, except that he does fall easily if he gets hit. So 685 defense in this day and age is really, really low. His mana charges, though, I mean, if you get him up to the second or the third mana charge, he's able to do some pretty serious damage, and at the third charge to all enemies. So if you do manage to get him to that last special, pardon me, he's definitely a real threat. I did look at Jay Foss's video, and he actually pointed out something really cool about these charge heroes, is that when it comes to the mana reduction specials, if they're on the second or the third charge or the 1.6 charge, mana reduction doesn't really have as big of an effect on them, because they've still got, it just takes some mana away from the charge that they're on. So that can be a benefit if you are using these heroes against other heroes that reduce mana. So I think, yeah, from this second row, in summary, Ludwig is an absolute chase. If you don't have him, I would grab him. You'll use him everywhere, and you will feel like it just opens up a brand new dimension to the whole game. So Ludwig's a definite steal for 15 souls. Now the last row, we've got Alfrike, who has literally been featured in just the most recent portal that we've had. She is a Rush superstar. She is incredible. You can pair her up with Ludwig and somebody like Snolfod, don't know how you say his name. If you got those three together and you're on an attack team, it's just super fun to see them all go off. And she is a hero that I don't have, but at the same time, the only reason I'm not getting Alfrike is that I lack the emblems, and for me, that's everything. If I have a hero that I can't emblem up straight away, I've got so many heroes waiting on wizard emblems. I've got a duplicate Loki. I've got, I can't even remember now, but there's definitely a few that are waiting on wizard emblems. Without going out, I can't see them, but that's my only reason for not picking her. And even as I'm looking at her, I'm just thinking, wow, you know, what if I just did and I tried to take the emblems off of somebody else? Oh, that's it, yeah, Miriam and Midnight's taking all the emblems away from Russell. Now he's got none. So yeah, these are first world problems, and I guess that, you know, you can build up the emblems over time, but how much time? That's the question. And do I really want to be buying packs of emblems? That's probably a no. So yeah, Alfrike is a brilliant hero. She's got a great defense stat, so she's survivable, and she is an absolute must, I would say, for a tank in Rush Wars. However, there are some workarounds, and I do believe that there are going to be some other super OP heroes coming out soon. So yeah, we'll park that one for now. Now, this little girl next to her, Faline, is also of the wizard class, and I feel like they've included loads of wizard class heroes in here just to mess with me. But she's great as well. I mean, she's dealing 330% damage to the target and the nearby enemies. And this bit, where the hit enemy with the fastest base mana speed gets minus 64% mana generation for 3 turns, I believe this can apply to all 3 enemies if they are of the same mana speed. So she is an absolutely brilliant hero, and she doesn't fall short when it comes to the attack stat like we did see with Saoirse, where she's 737 dealing 315, and she's at slower speed. I've definitely come up against it with Faline before, where she just hits and then you wonder what the hell just happened. And she's also got the Circus family bonus, where she gets the 50% cleanse just for one hero. If you run her with another hero from the same family, it goes up to 75% chance to cleanse. And if you've got 3 heroes from the Circus family, that's 100% chance to cleanse that status ailment. So again, my only issue is those damn wizard emblems, because they're so hard to come by for me at the moment. So Farlene. And then we've got Frigg. Good old Frigg. She's been around for a while now. She's still a great hero. She is of the rogue class, which means that she gets the chance to dodge, which is annoying as anything. She got that hit all damage and hit all defense down, which happens at fast speed. But for her to be really super effective, I think that you're going to need a limit break in today's meta. So Frigg is also a great option, and I do think, even though she is a bit older and she's probably going to have a costume coming up soon, she is worth it for the 20 souls. Now Emilio, and I do have some druid emblems. So Emilio is, I mean, he's kind of an awkward one from this last tier, because he does work really well. He's got the ailment protection, and he's got that burn damage, which you can increase with somebody like Matilda, who boosts the damage of any damage over time ailments. But his main draw card is that ailment blocking skill that he has, which is effective against so many heroes. And he does have a lot of usability in attack teams especially. So I do like Emilio. I think he is quite specialist. So you're going to need to be somebody who has a specific gap for him in your roster. But if you do use him in the right way, he can be an absolute lifesaver, because he'll get that ailment protection going at the beginning of the battle, and it'll be going all the way through. So another great hero. And this is just making the choice even harder, man. As I'm looking at this, I'm just thinking, who am I going to pick? So let's have a look at Finley. Now, Finley, man, doesn't he look cool? Costume Finley. So Costume Finley is, I mean, his stats look lower here, but they'll actually be a lot higher when you level up the costume. He's got a great attack stat already, but then when you add in the costume bonus and factor that in, that attack stat just jumps up more and more. So Costume Finley is dealing 420% damage to the target, so that's a big damage increase over the regular version of Finley. He is super situational, because if the target has buffs, he targets another enemy with buffs, and if none of them have buffs, it's basically just a fast snipe. But he also gives a minus 56% defense down, and that bit is one of the reasons why I think this one is just insane. The other one was, I think, 34% defense down. I'm not sure, I never had him. But I always wanted Finley for the buff and the defense down. And it wasn't until very recently that I found out, when looking over these heroes, that he can actually pair up with someone who I don't use very often, but I would love to use more than just in tournaments, and that is Wilbur. So Wilbur basically gives that ailment to the whole of the other team, which is not only an ailment, but as far as Finley's concerned, it counts as a buff. So for some reason, if you pop that shared damage on the opposite team, whether you use Wilbur or whether you use the 3-star hero Costume Gunner, that's going to count as a buff. So it means that Finley's going to end up hitting the whole team. So with that being said, and with him also being in my favorite class, which is the fighter class, and with so many new heroes being released, and I know he's a ranger and I've got plenty of emblems to pop on him, I am gonna go with this guy. So he's gonna be my choice for this exchange. I've just got to grab a few heroes to trade for him. Hopefully I've selected enough pre-selected. Get rid of this girl. Got a few copies of you. And Tier, see you later. All of these season 1 guys, see you later. Man, I love this soul exchange. Oh, I can take one back. You know what? I think I'm gonna keep another copy of Grace, because I think that she's just gonna be a beast, and I'm gonna put together loads of green teams. Yeah, and I'm gonna use Grace loads. Famous last words. Right, 20 heroes selected. So here we go. Without any further ado, I'm gonna grab this handsome guy, and I hope I get the hero and the costume, because if I don't get the hero and the costume, I'm gonna be super upset. Right, here we go. Shit, only just thought about that now, but yeah, hopefully nothing bad happens. Boom, there he is, Finley and the Bleak Commodore costume. So that is it. A brand spanking new hero, and freed up loads of roster space. So let's go ahead and lock down costume Finley wherever he is. Where is he now? I literally scrolled past him, haven't I? Oh shit, there he is. Fucking hell. I thought I hadn't got him. Oh mate. Damn, my heart was in my throat there. Jesus, don't do that to me again. Ah, brilliant. Super stoked with my choice. I'm gonna ramp that costume bonus up. I'm gonna level you. I'm gonna pop you some ranger emblems, and you are gonna take on some teams. So I'm gonna pop you in a nice blue team with a couple of these other guys. So that is it for this video. Jesus, nearly had a heart attack there, but I wish you guys all the best in your exchange. Hopefully this has given you some sort of feedback or some ideas on who you want to pick. And you know what? If I didn't make the right choice, I didn't make the right choice. Really, there's going to be another one in a few months, and we're going to just keep on keeping on. So I wish you guys all the best. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you all again in the next video. Peace.